Can you really be yourself authentically when starting a business? Or does success mean having to hide behind a mask or a business persona that doesn't feel quite right? Today, I want to get real with you about what it means to show up as yourself authentically and how to actually be yourself when you're starting a business. We often think that we need to fit a particular mold to be successful, but the truth is my own journey began from a place of not being myself at all and learning the hard way what not to do. And if you're wondering what the signs are of not being authentic to yourself, I covered that in my last video, but I'll link it here in the description too. It's Mary Kate here from The Freedom You Deserve. Each week I share lessons I learned over 10 years building my confidence and starting my first business so that you can do it all much quicker and build a business that's exciting, meaningful, and allows you to be more authentically you. Let me share a bit of my own journey and how I learned the hard way the importance of showing up as yourself. Growing up in the 90s, I never really learned what it meant to be authentic. In fact, probably like a lot of people, I learned really early on not to be myself. As a shy kid, I was happy watching other people dancing in public and doing all of those extroverted things. But whenever the attention shifted to me, I wished the world would open up and swallow me. Having to read aloud in class or do stage performances or be on the debate team was absolute torture. But eventually I adapted and I got used to feeling uncomfortable almost every day. As I got older, like many women, I learned that I should be and behave a certain way to be accepted and successful. And I worried what people might think if I was too different from what was expected. So I became a master at blending in, going along with everybody else, going along with what I was supposed to be doing or what I was supposed to be. I pushed myself into situations that didn't feel comfortable just to be like everyone else. And eventually I lost touch with who I was. And although I always dreamed of starting my own business, I thought I was supposed to go to university. So I followed that path like a good little girl. And now I have a degree I've barely used. In my teens and my early 20s, I had this kind of shallow confidence that was totally dependent on social status or popularity, if you could even call it that. But it was all pretty fragile. And a sudden conflict with a close friend at uni that dragged on for about a year triggered a really unexpected domino effect. Because it was such a difficult conflict for me to handle at the time, I was really hurt. And I found myself withdrawing from the friend groups we shared, feeling isolated and self-conscious. And without fully understanding the consequences of self-preservation, I made a promise to myself that I would never, ever, ever let somebody hurt me like that again. But that promise totally backfired. Instead of empowering me, it led me to spend the next decade playing small and taking the easy road, a road that led me nowhere. I played office politics to avoid conflict, which was exhausting. I chose the safe option all the time so that I could stay within my comfort zone that was only getting smaller and smaller as time went on. And I dared not share what I really thought for fear of what other people might think of me. But I wasn't allowing my real self to be seen, hardly at all. Whatever confidence I once had began to unravel. And although I was always thinking about how to start my own business and what kind of business I should start, I didn't have the confidence to take the first step and actually start one. I was terrified of failure. And honestly, after playing small for so long, I didn't trust myself to be able to handle something big like starting a business or to figure out how to make it a success. So I decided I wasn't ready yet and continued doing all the things that I was supposed to do. I worked hard, I got married, I bought a house, all those things. Yet with each passing year, I could feel my once positive attitude slipping away, a little more sadness and growing frustration creeping in to replace it. And I was exhausted from trying to pretend that this was the life that I wanted. I saw my parents' friends finally reach that retirement goal, finally get that freedom, only to get sick and die really soon afterwards. And I kept thinking, if I keep doing this, the same thing will happen to me. And I'll have wasted my life on meaningless work and never reaching my true potential. I was miserable and desperate for a different life. But because I had a mortgage and bills to pay, just like everybody else, I felt trapped by my need for an income. And after years of being agreeable and forcing myself to fit in at all costs, my confidence had dwindled away. And I didn't know if any of my business ideas were good. I didn't know how to find out. And I just could not find the courage to quit my job to start a business. Until finally a turning point. I shifted my attention from quitting my job to start a business to starting a side hustle that could become a full-time business later. It felt safer for me to keep my job and learn about business without all of that pressure of having to succeed within a certain time frame or before I ran out of money. And I didn't know it at the time, but that was what enabled me to finally move forward. To make it even easier for me to start, I started by selling other people's products, which meant I didn't have to source or design my own product or worry about fulfilling orders. And that business model was a really great stepping stone. I met some like-minded people and had some really exciting experiences that showed me the potential of business and reinforced my desire to quit my job and start a business. Just a couple of months in, I earned 2 months worth of my salary in just 3 days. And it was actually a lot of fun. I learned how to set up a website and get comfortable on camera. And yes, these were horrible experiences to start with, but they would help me to become the entrepreneur that I wanted to be. I wanted to make all the rules that I played by, and I really wanted to help people in a way that I felt was important and valuable. I realized from that first business that so many aspiring entrepreneurs struggle with a lack of confidence, and far too many never make it as entrepreneurs. A lot of aspiring entrepreneurs are in the habit, even though we're adults, of asking for permission from other people and seeking external validation before we're comfortable taking action. And the result of this is often a paralyzing fear of making decisions that keeps us feeling stuck year in, year out, or not trusting ourselves deeply enough that we end up with shiny object syndrome, jumping on the latest trend, constantly starting over but getting nowhere. And this can make us feel even more frustrated, or maybe even embarrassed that you just don't seem to be able to get your shit together. But you're not alone in this struggle. Many aspiring entrepreneurs face the same fears and uncertainties, and we're often blind to the value we have that other people don't have, value that you can turn into a business. I've been there myself, navigating the complexities of self-doubt and the pressure to be just like everybody else, all while yearning to create something truly meaningful. What we often don't realize is that this lack of confidence comes from that disconnection with your authentic self, a connection that could have been lost in childhood, and the habits at play to always fit in, maybe even with people or in places you don't want to fit in with anymore. And if you think about it, if you've been creative enough to always find ways to fit in, even when deep down you felt very different to everybody else, you're more than capable of finding and creating ways to make a business work. This disconnection from your authentic self can make it feel really difficult to embrace your natural skills or talents, or to see yourself as good enough or smart enough or brave enough to succeed in a new business, in a new life. You might not have realized before now that the answer to the perfect business for you, it's not outside of you. It's already in you. And the secret to feeling confident starting a business lies in reconnecting with your authentic self so that you can not just find, but create that perfect business for you. Reconnecting with your authentic self isn't an overnight thing. I so wish it was. It's not just a decision, but a series of small decisions that accumulate to change the way you do things and eventually to change your life. But it's a journey worth taking, one where each step brings you closer to that freedom and to that success that you're meant to have in your life. It took me a long time to learn and experiment with what felt true for me. And I realized that the journey to the best business for you really has to be second to developing your self-trust and your authenticity. And that building a business after you've done that allows you to build a better business, one that allows you to trust your instincts, value your unique perspective, and honor the deepest desires you have for your life. As you work through these layers, you'll see that the best business for you is the one that allows you to be completely yourself, without hiding or pretending to be anything else. The more you align with what feels natural for you and exciting and fulfilling, the more you'll be able to make decisions that truly feel right for you and bring you closer to the life you want. If this is resonating with you and you're ready to explore the steps of creating a business that feels completely and authentically you, check out the link in the description to unlock a secret video. In it, I share the 4 elements that make up the perfect business for you so that you can build a meaningful, confidence-driven business, one that feels true to who you are. This video is hidden though, it's not on YouTube, so you'll only get it in the description below. But join me there to unlock the steps for creating a business that's not just profitable, but also authentically you. Can't wait to see you there.